Hi Flosstube, I'm Lori and welcome to Once Upon a Stitch. Today is December 2nd, it's Monday, and it's snowing here in New Jersey. I don't know if you can see it out that window. I already videotaped, this is my 43rd Flosstube video. I already did this already, and I did it on my tablet because I couldn't get my auxiliary camera to the laptop to work, and so I said, oh, let me try it on my tablet. The boys are always telling me use my tablet because the camera is better, and it was better. The colors were so much more vibrant, and so I did the whole video, started watching it back, and it cut me off. It must have been at 30 minutes. It literally cut me off. I said, okay. They told me that if I video like another piece, I can put them all together. So then I videoed a second part of the stuff that was cut out from the first one. So, and then I went to this editing software where I could do that, and it did it. And I went to save it, and it said, no, there's no room to do this. So I have to do this all over again. So seeing me for like 3 hours is more than anybody should have to put up with. But I did want to make this video and get out there and visit with you guys because I love interacting with you and watching your videos. If you do Flosstube, or if you don't, that you comment and I comment back. So thank you for joining me today. I hope you have a nice visit with me. For all of my new people who have turned in for the first time, I hope you enjoy what I have to show you. And for all my returning subscribers, thank you very much. I really, really appreciate it because it's because of you that I come back and do this, because sometimes there are days when I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to do that anymore. And then I just get so motivated to want to share with you and have your comments, and so for now I'm going to keep doing this. I will keep life updates towards the end of the video, and for those that just come here to hear about cross stitch. So I'm going to talk about two things from my last video, and the first one was Tina asked me to explain my rotation. Now, I have explained it in past videos, but if you're new, you don't know it. So I'll be brief for those who have heard it before. I stitch on a project for 2 days, and then after the 2 days, I put it in its project bag and move on to the next one and work on that for 2 days and work right through it. And so then I usually make 2 videos a month, somewhere in the middle of the month, and then at the end of the month, which this one's a little late. But so that's what I usually do, and then I show everybody what progress I've made on those 2 days, and if there's any finishes that I might have had, or fully finished, or just works in project. So that's how I work my rotation. And then the other question was, Kathy asked me about the fabric that I was using for Turkey Bay, which is a Plum Street pattern. And I had said it was mushroom, but it's not. It's ivory, and I corrected it with her and somebody else that asked me about it. And it's strange that I had mentioned in my last video that I was going to try to be more diligent in telling everybody the fabric that I'm using, because people do ask me. I guess for me, when I watch people's videos, I enjoy what they're stitching on, but sometimes if they mention a 36 or a 40 count or even a 32, I don't know if I can always get the colors that they have. So I always make it work for me on my 28 count or my Adas, basically, is the fabrics that I stitch on. I know sometimes like a certain fabric can make something stand out more, and that's sometimes what attracts me as well. But so I'll try to be good at that. But like I said, I tried to do that in the last video, and then I think I blew by 3 projects and I forgot to tell you what I was stitching on. Go figure. Okay, so now I'm going to show you my finishes. I had stitched this a while ago, and I showed it. I think I did this for Stitch Mania. Oh no, Christmas in July stitching. Stitch Mania this past year I did autumn and October stitching. So this was Christmas in July, Brenda Gervais pattern, Jolly Holly, I believe. And I finished it as if I was going to put it on an aluminum oval dish server. Excuse me. I'll just reach down. This is what I had anticipated, something to this effect. But when I tried this, it's really too big. And yeah, even if I move it down, I just didn't like the way it looked, even though if I would have put greenery and whatever on the top. But I was going to spray paint that probably white. Sorry. But I got this part done. I got it laced and then mat board on the back of it with fabric, and then I put this piece of sheet metal so that whatever I decide to put it on with the magnet, it'll be ready. And then I'll decide if I'm going to do some fabric around it or a trim. But right now I got this part done, so I was happy because I was concerned about the oval shape. But I like the way it is, the straighter sides and then the oval at the top and bottom. And the other prior finish that I did, I had stitched this Prairie Schooler. This was 1988 Santa. And I stitched it and I finally finished it. Let's see. And then the back is red ticking. I put a bow with a rusty bell. Ding ding. And I'm really happy with it. I bought a lot of this red ticking so that I can at least get some kind of uniformity in finishing the Prairie Schoolers. Okay, the next one I stitched, and I have a little tip for you if you don't already know, which you probably do, and I'm late to the party. This is a hands-on design Christmas ornament, Noel. And I took Priscilla's lead on this in changing the houses to red. I don't know if you can see that. You must be wondering what I'm pulling, but I'll explain it in a minute. So I finished it as a little pillow, and what I did was I left the bottom open and then flipped it inside out, or right side out, and then sewed it up and attached the trim. Now I didn't want to glue the trim, and I was wondering what kind of thread I was going to use so that it wouldn't show. And this is what I decided to use. I won't take it out of the bag because in the first video I took it out of the bag, it fell out of my hand, and it rolled on the floor. So you can kind of see it through my hair. It's invisible thread. And I found this totally by accident. I was trying to figure out what color thread I was going to use to attach that, and I went into my drawer of threads and I noticed the invisible thread, and I said perfect. The only thing is I suggest to use a needle threader because it's very hard to see when you're threading the needle, and I used a longer than usual thread because it was very easy to pull the needle off the thread, and then you had to re-thread again. So that was, for those that you don't know, that was my tip. And this is the back of the pillow. It's just a suggestion, not so it doesn't show. The next one was Gingerbread Cookie by Little House Needleworks. And as some of you might remember, I was going to stitch it for Caleb. And that's, I finished. Oops. And the back is also the red ticking. And I also attached that with the invisible thread. And the year. I added the year and his name because this comes with a design, and I saw it on somebody else's, on maybe Facebook or Instagram, where she did a whole bunch of these and put everybody's names on the bottom. And so I got some graph paper I don't know if you can tell there's graph paper in there, and I allowed for how much space was allotted and tried to make it work. Excuse me. A previous finish that I finally fully finished is I added the pom-pom snowballs to the Winter Bird by Heart and Hand. So now I can bring him downstairs and display him. Yes, I've been calling it a him. Okay, the next finishes that I had, I used the pattern by Works by ABC, and it's the alphabet sampler. And I took the letters from here, and I used this thread for one of them. It's a Silks for You that was gifted to me. It was the first silks I've ever worked with, and it is PR094 is the colorway. And this is my finish. Amy and James, Chicolone, 2019, and a heart from that. And Amy likes purple, so it has some purple in there, so I decided to accent the purple. And if you look at my corners, no, they're not pointy, but I purposely did them that way. The pattern is at an angle, so I decided to do the corners that way on this. And that's their ornament. And then I did one for, I didn't fully finish this. I was working on this morning, and I think it's still kind of damp. This is Michael and Rebecca's ornament, where Ozzy is their dog, and Caleb is the new addition, and the year. And I'm going to add a bow and some Christmas bells, red Christmas bells I have. So that's from that. So I got some graph paper, and I just grafted it out in an area, and then with the second one I didn't want to do an elaborate border like the other one, so I just cross-stitched around the outside. Works by ABC has a border if you want to follow along with that particular border, which I used on the first ornament. Then my friend Pat lent me a pattern that she had. It was called, it's by the Midnight Stitching, and it's Snowman's Quaker Christmas. And this was the first one I did of that pattern, and I used sampler threads, and I used Blue Jay for that. And then I used B52 for the white. Excuse me. And then I stitched it again. And this is stitched on 16 count doubloon of a piece that I had left over. And then I picked up another 16 count, a blue fabric that I had, and I stitched it again, and this time I stitched it in Bayberry by Sampler Threads. And the red is Licorice Red that I used. So holding them, and this is just the blue, I don't know if there was another name for it, but here's the two of them together. Can you see them? The color. And I really like both of them. They're adorable. So hopefully I'll finish them, fully finish them soon. Okay. I don't want to forget anything. So, okay, I showed you everything that I finished. Now we're going to go into my whips. Okay, what have I been stitching? Okay, this is in no particular order. I picked them off the table and I put them back into my bin so that I can re-video this again. So in no particular order. This pattern is a band sampler born in 1604. I am stitching it in Weeks Dye Works, Cayenne, and Emerald. And this is how far I've gotten on it. And I just love it. Love it. Look at those colors. Matches the border. And I originally bought a skein of each of floss of those colors, And I happen to have a second set, and I don't even know that the cayenne was a total second set, but I had some left over from a previous pattern that I was working on. And I don't know if this is going to be, 2 skeins are going to be enough, but I'll get as far as I can, and if I need more, I will just get more. But I really am enjoying it. I like the colors. I like the fact that it matches the band so well. Hey, this one, I keep pulling this up first. I'm going to put that last. Okay, the next one I did was Little House Needleworks Winter ABCs, and I'll have to stand up for this one. Now, I left all this room at the top, and after I started stitching on this. Now, this is the piece that I originally held in the Q-snap in the wrong direction, and then when I realized it, I turned the Q-snap and started in the right direction. And I didn't know if I was going to have enough fabric to do the whole alphabet. So what I did was I stitched the entire alphabet to make sure that it would make it to the end. And it did make it to the end with that much room. It's enough for me to finish. But I was holding my breath. Okay, so I basically have to stitch the center section here. It was a quilt, and I don't remember what else, and I believe something goes here by the snowman. I don't know if it's another snow person, but so that's how much I've gotten done. Now, talking about my rotation, now I said I do a 2-day rotation, and then 99% of the time, if I know that I can finish it in another rotation, or another day, do I continue? 99% of the time I don't. But on this one, if I don't finish it in the 2 days, I may, only because I'd like to see it done this year. We make these rules and then we break them because we can. There are rules. Next one, Stacy Nash, Christmas at Hollyberry Farm. And this is stitched on a 28 count Country Mocha that I got at Needleworkers. And since you saw it last, I believe I stitched up to the K. And I stopped there because I was wondering what I was going to do with the L. Because the L and the S, I changed colors. I made it to, I believe I did it the same color as the green up at the top, just to make it stand out a little bit more. So I stitched from the L all the way to the end, the three leaves here and the berries, and so from the L over and L over. And I had the C stitched in the prior video, so I did the H and the rest of the word, and those, the dog, the tree, and start this other tree. So I was trying to work it so that I can maybe start the house next. I'll work down the side and the house. So yes, I'll pick this up in my December stitching, but it'll only be a rotation because I'll never get that done, even if I stitched every day of the month on it. Okay, my next one, and I'm enjoying stitching all of these, and I think that's why I stitch the way I do, is because I do enjoy stitching on them, and then I'll be happy when I pick them up again. So next one is Jack Frost's Tree Farm, and this is a Little House Needleworks, and this is done on a 28 count mushroom. Now on this one I changed, color changed, that it called for ecru or eggshell, and I did the eggshell in the house, in the windows and stuff, and the chimney smoke, but the snow I decided to swap it out and do B5200. And because I had seen this center section of the sign, where after everything is stitched in there, it's then filled in with eggshell. And instead of using all that eggshell, I might just do it in ecru, just to save on some of the fancy floss for just filling in a section. Because eggshell is really not variegated in the skein that I have, so I might as well do it in ecru. Then I decided to start the Little House Needlework series, the Hometown Holiday series, and I decided I was doing them individually. I kept hemming and hawing. I was working out the numbers to see what stores I was going to put on, what buildings, and I was doing more of that than stitching. So I says, I'm going to do them individually. I'll stitch a bunch of them before I decide how I finish them. I don't know if I'll do a flat finish or a pillow finish, but I started with the toy store, and this is how far I've gotten on the toy store. And this is stitched on a ash gray Lugana, 28 count. And then I should finish it in another 2-day rotation. Fingers crossed. Okay, the next one I picked up was Lila Studio Holiday Quaker. Oops. I didn't get too much completed on this one. Sometimes I say to myself, like, some days I get 2 days, I get a lot done. And then 2 days, like, did I nod off somewhere and I didn't realize it? I just don't get it. But anyway, moving on. This is where I've gotten on Holiday Quaker, and I stitched the mittens and the outside here, and I believe these 2 snowflakes. And then I started this center one, which is going to be a wreath like that with 3 snowmen in the center. So, and this is done on a 28 count Lugana, and it was dyed specifically for this pattern by Needleworker's Delight in Metuchen. I bought the pattern and I said I'd like a piece of fabric. The only thing they asked me if I wanted it to have a gray tinge or a blue tinge, and I asked for the gray tinge. So I don't know, there's no name for it, but I think if you wanted to order it, you would just say the Lila Studio pattern, and they would know which one. Okay, the next one I picked up, which I hadn't picked up in a while, was Joan Elliott's Joyful Snowman Stocking. And this has a lot of outlining, and at first I didn't like outlining. Now I love outlining. I love it how it just brings it to life practically. But I didn't get a chance to outline this time that I stitched. So, I stitched this whole jacket section and the center pocket with a star. And I think once I put in the outlining, it'll make it pop more. And I started this trim and the center, but I didn't get very far on that. But I really enjoy this. So I have 3 years. They say 3 years and a child that understands Christmas stockings. Maybe by then I'll be working on the second one. Fingers crossed. Oh, I forgot to put this in one of the patterns. Okay. Then, I think, 2 more. Last night I started this one. It is Santa 2009. Prairie Schooler, and this was gifted to me by Leah Fitzpatrick with this gorgeous bag? I can't think of the name. Project bag. Okay. Project bag. And I keep my prairie schoolers in there. And I'm doing this on an 18 count Devosa. I have a sticker on this one. Here it is. In soft mocha. And that's what I used for the other prairie schooler, so I'm keeping it the same. And so I'll be stitching on this tonight. Okay, I'll leave that there. Then I stitched the Noel, which I showed you the finished ones, and then I will be doing Luminaria Lane, and I will be changing those houses also to red. And it's done on an 18 count Country Mocha. That's all I got. This was not really a start. This was, I finished the other one, Noel, and I just wanted to see if I was going to have enough room on this piece of fabric, because it's only a scrap. And I did. So, and then the final one that I stitched on, because even though it has nothing to do with the holidays, it's going to take me probably 2 years to complete this, if I'm realistic. I mean, yeah, I don't want to get burnt out on it. So yeah, 2 days, and I want to go further, so that's a good thing that I stop after the 2 days. Templar Prophecy by Long Dog Sampler. And this is how far I've gotten on this. Some of these I have to stand up because the fabric is taller than me. Okay. Try to fold it up. Okay, and not get lipstick on it. The end of the page break was this top stitch in this center one right here, this top, and it just, you know, straight down page break. So I stitched this and this one here is the end of the next page break. So that's where I've gotten on the 2 days. I did it all straight down, so all that side. And I really am enjoying this. And I don't know if you would say it's the positive and the negative of a drawing, but being that this be the positive, but then this bird, which you don't stitch, you stitch all around it, is the negative. So yeah, I'm enjoying this quite a bit. And I always hate to put it down, but I do, because then the next time I will continue to love it. Let me just put that back in the envelope here. And I believe that is all my whips that I have to share with you. Okay, next, what I'll be doing for the up till the next video, I will be working on the patterns basically that I just showed you. I'm going to continue on the Christmas theme, and I think Templar Prophecy, I'll hold it back for till the second half of the month. And but yesterday was Sunday, and I decided to make a list of all my whips, the actual whips that have stitches in them, and I have 28 whips. To some of you that's a lot, to some of you that's nothing compared to the 100 that you might have, but it's I'm happy with them. I mean, I don't think I want any more than that, because then I don't know if I don't get to them every month. Then, you know, then it would be like I'll wait a month or 2 months, and then if something else catches my eye, that gets stuck in. So out of that 28, I looked at it and I said, in January, if I start with, like, what can I get done in January that if I worked on it 1 or 2 rotations could be totally done? And that's about 7. So that's what I think my plans are for January, is to try to complete those that are 1 or 2 rotations away. So if it's 2 rotations, I'll do it in one at the first 15 days of the month. And then after I show you that, then the next video, I hope to complete it. If I can't, if I'm not going to be able to, then I won't. I'll just push it off to the next month and pick up something else. But if it's close, I will do that. That's my thought process for getting those whips done. And then I looked at what I had in project bags that have not been started. And I have 11 at present in project bags that are in some part kitted, whether it be just fabric or just threads or both or neither, just the pattern that I want to stitch on. So as I complete them, then I'll be starting the ones that are in the project bags. I might hold off on a lot of my purchase this time frame that we've been apart. A lot of it has been for His Eyes on the Sparrow, because it's a long list of colors, and I don't know if one skein was enough for each one, so naturally I got 2 of everything. So, and they're dyeing fabric for me. It called to be on doubloon, and doubloon is a Picture This Plus fabric, so I asked Needleworkers to dye something for me, and because I'm doing it on a 28 count, it's over a yard of fabric. So it's being dyed. I don't have it yet, and I don't know if I'll start that right away. I would want to complete a number of projects, larger projects, before I tackle on another large project. But I'm still in the process of kitting it up and getting it ready. So those are my plans. Okay, a friend of mine, Alva, passed on a pattern to me, and that's Little House Needlework's six little cardinals. And there's little cardinals sitting on the tree, and I love this pattern. And instead of making myself more crazy than I am this time of the year, I decided that I'm going to follow Priscilla's lead in doing Stitch Mania all Christmas ornaments. So this will be added to this little bag that I will be collecting little ornaments that I can finish. It doesn't have to be in the 2-day rotation, but I can start them, get a good push on them, and then through the months finish them up. So I'm looking forward to having a Christmas Stitch Mania. Even though I had July Christmas stitching, I had put in some big projects in there. But this one, I want to do all small ornament types. So, so that's what I'm going to be collecting from now until Mania starts. And you know, you think about how you want to stitch coming up. You know, will I do Christmas in July again if I'm going to do Christmas in May? So I don't know, I haven't decided. But okay, what have I purchased? I purchased a few things. I purchased a new tension hoop, and I bought this one at Hobby Lobby. I've seen them other places, and I found that the tension was not tight enough. But the one at Hobby Lobby at this size is really nice and tight. So I purchased another one. I have, this makes my second one, and I have a small one as well. When I work on small projects that don't fit in a Q-snap, I still put them in a hoop because I like them to be taut. Then I purchased floss. I'm not going to read them all to you. Yeah, I just picked up a lot of, it's mostly gassed Gentle Arts threads. I picked up a few DMCs. I picked up, some DMC and Anchor pearl floss. I thought I could use this. It was in a clearance bin at Needleworkers, and I thought this would be great for needle punch. It's a size 5. I guess if it fits in the needle, it could work. But anyway, and I thought they were nice fall colors. So on my agenda for next year. I only purchased one pattern this time, and I purchased Hands-On Design, collaboration between Kathy Haberman and Priscilla Blaine. And actually, I think I'm going to put this in my this little pillow here. I'm going to put it in that pouch for next year, for May. That will be a Mania start. And did I buy anything else? Oh yes. I heard everybody speaking about the sulky threads, the size 12 pearl, and technically it's about a skein, not a skein. It's equivalent to DMC as if it was not quite too, excuse me. If I stop this, oh shoot. Okay, I couldn't pause this, and if I stop it, I'd have to start all the way at the beginning again. So I'll just have to call them back. That's my son. I hope everything's okay. Yeah, I worry. Anyway, the next purchase I made were the sulky threads, and I purchased them through Amazon. And I got these 3 just to try the different colors. As I was saying, it's about a thread and a little bit more of in the DMC equivalent. So like maybe on an 18 count I can get away with just 1 thread. So I'm going to eventually give that a try. And let's see, I want to make sure I tell you everything. Okay, I know a lot of you watch a lot of Flosstubers, and I do as well, and sometimes I try to write down their names and remember them so that I can share them with you. Now these are not new to Flosstube, but they're new to me watching them on Flosstube. A lot of people have been watching them already, and luckily they came up when I was looking for. One is I met her at the New Jersey Flosstube retreat, and her name is Debra, and her channel name is AZ Needleworker, and she lives in Arizona. That's where the AZ comes from, and she does some amazing works, especially in chatelaines. So I love seeing what she's been up to and hearing about her progress on her projects. The second person that I started watching was Blue Horse Yellow Cow, and her name is Linda. She lives in Chicago, and occasionally her daughter Sarah joins her. So I have been enjoying watching her. And you know, sometimes you watch Flosstube and you don't always comment. I know I don't. I you know, sometimes like I can watch somebody that I watch all the time, and after like 3 or 4 videos I was like, oh, I haven't commented, let me comment. And it's not that I haven't been watching, it's just that I'm either stitching or as I'm, and then it goes on to the next one. So in the morning I try to watch some Flosstube. Very rarely in the evening do I watch Flosstube, because I do like watching series on Netflix. So yeah, so I try to get it as much as I can, and sometimes I try to see new people and then tell you about them if you're looking for somebody sometimes. Okay, oh, one more purchase that I made. It's not stitchy related, but I just thought she was so adorable that I couldn't resist her. Isn't she sweet? And she just sits here with me. She's a little mouse. I think she's adorable. And I just couldn't walk out of the store. I was looking at her. I found her in Home Goods. So I was looking at her, and I picked her up, and I'm like, oh. And I said, oh, I shouldn't. And then I said, no. And I walked away. And then I came back, and I said, if she's still there, I'm picking her up. And she was. She was waiting for me. And I'm so thrilled to have her. I think she's the most adorable thing. These silly things like this, like my husband would say, like, did you need her? No, but I wanted her. She makes me happy. So I'm going to try and make somebody happy. I'm going to have a giveaway. And the pattern that I'm giving away is Waxy Moon Designs Frosty Friends. I stitched this bottom one last year, and I showed it to you, but for those new to my channel, this is my finish. I did a flat fold, and I believe this was the very first flat fold. I only did 2, but this was the very first flat fold that I did, and I followed Vonna Pfeiffer's tutorial on how to do this. And the only thing that I have to be aware of when I'm doing this is I would make this section here a little bit longer so that it opens up a little bit wider. I find that by it being this short, oops, that's all it opens. So when it's on a table and the table rocks sometimes, it can fall over. So that was my only suggestion to myself, is to leave just a little bit more room than that. And so this is the pattern, and it actually comes with two. It's snuggle up together like birds up a feather. So you get both patterns in there. And the question that I will be asking, because everybody's asking questions, and I was sitting here thinking, like, what question can I ask? It's gonna be easy. Are you a snow person or not a snow person? I am not a snow person. Snow gives me much anxiety. When I used to work, I used to go to work, and if they were anticipating snow and it would start snowing, I would be looking out that window every 5 minutes to see the accumulation, to see how I was going to get home. And literally, I only lived 5 miles away from where I worked. So, but I would get myself in such a tizzy and drive home white knuckles, that I have really major issues with driving in snow. So, are you a snow person or are you not? I am not. Okay, I didn't give you any life updates. I'll be real quick. Caleb's doing wonderfully. Rebecca goes to work next Monday. She goes back to work. Her mom and I will be sharing responsibilities of watching Caleb, and we're both very excited about that. And what else? The newlyweds are wonderful. James stopped by on Saturday, and we got to catch up. Amy had to go into the city to rehearse for a reading of a show. And what else? My husband and I were supposed to go to a meeting at the hospital today. He is having some knee surgery in January, and we have to go to a mandatory class to learn about the surgery and how to, I guess, rehabilitate afterwards. Somebody will be coming to the house for 2 weeks, probably like maybe 3 times a week, for rehab, and then I take him to rehab. He can't drive for 6 weeks in total. So that's on our agenda. And we canceled that because of the snow. It's supposed to get really bad later on, and so we decided that don't take a chance. They have another class next Monday, and that's what we'll be doing next Monday. And that's about it. I will be hosting the holidays, so I think I'm going to have about 18 people. About the giveaway, I forget to say the rules. The same rules apply. You have to be 18 years or older, or have your mother's permission or parents' permission to give me your address so that I can mail it to you. The only thing I'd like to say about the giveaway is, if you really want the giveaway, I'm more than happy to have you apply or enter to win it. If you're not interested, please don't enter. You can tell me if you like snow or not, but just say, I don't want the pattern. Because I had to, in the last 2 giveaways where I had multiple giveaways, I had to track people down, and they wouldn't even respond to me. And after 2 tries of sending a message and then trying on Instagram, and people don't respond, if you don't want to give me your address, I understand, but then don't put in for the giveaway, because I'm not going to do that anymore. If after a week's time, after I call your name, and if you don't respond to me within a week's time, I'm going to call a second person and try to get in touch with them, because it's too much. It's too much. It's not that I don't want to share, but be kind to me. Don't have me track you down. Alrighty, and on that note, I will see you mid-December sometime. I hope you have a happy couple of weeks. What's the word? Productive 2 weeks. That's it. All right, Flosstube. Stay well, stay warm,